A blessed day, dear girls. This is teacher Aidha, and today we are going to conduct our lesson on justice in society. And we are linking up from where we ended in class. But we want to remind ourselves of what is justice. But before we look at justice as a topic, I want to remind you to be just to yourself and to your neighbors at home by observing all the SOPs, washing hands, sanitizing, wearing a mask, and staying at home because COVID is real, it is killing people. That is why we need to be just to ourselves by protecting ourselves and also others. May the good Lord be with us as we conduct this lesson. Now we want to remind ourselves about what is justice. And like we said in class, and we still know that it is the act of being fair. The way we conduct ourselves towards others, we need to be fair. That is doing what we want to be done unto us, to others, treating people fairly and equally without any discrimination. Looking at this picture, we see a photo of a person who is unjust to another person. And when we look at this picture, it comes to our mind that there are times when we are not fair to others, and there we are unjust. So being unjust is the act of being unfair to others. You do to others what you don't want to be done to you. For example, at home, you fight your young sister, your young brother. Look at this picture. You see the boys fighting, but their neighbors are just smiling and saying, aha, that is what we want to be done. But this is being unfair to others. So dear listeners, as you're watching this video, do not do this. We have examples of injustices today in our daily lives. We, both young and old, we tend to be involved in so many injustices. We have corruption, and here corruption takes up being tribalistic. You just favor your own tribe members, you favor your own people like brothers, sisters, relatives. Then it also takes another form of nepotism, discrimination. All that is corruption. Even we add on embezzlement of public funds. It can be funds of the home. You're the elder sister, you're the elder brother left at home to do some work, to buy something for the little ones, and then you tend to take the biggest share and you don't use it for the right purpose. Marginalizing of women and children. You find that in our societies, women are taken to be so inferior to men. So those sometimes are used for you're just to stay at home to do ABCD. Then when it comes to children, children are marginalized and the disabled. When it comes to food, when it comes to sharing of property, children are marginalized, and that is an injustice. We are not treating them fair as we would wish to be treated. Overcharging prices by some business people. You find that now, as we are in this pandemic, before, when the president was about to give a national speech, traders speculated that there would be a lockdown. So what they did was to hike, to overcharge the prices of goods and services. So that was an injustice by the traders. There is hoarding and hiding of goods by the traders. You find that traders are hiding soap in this season so that they can charge us higher prices. This is an injustice to us as the customers, the buyers, the final users of this product, because we don't have the money. So when you hide and then there is scarcity of goods, such that you hike the price, that is an injustice. Then we have child abuse. We have seen in our neighborhoods, in our homes, on TV, we have read in newspapers how children are abused. Some are burnt, some are beaten, some are given hard work which is not of their age. Dear listeners, we have pictures of some injustices like corruption. In this picture, we are seeing a traffic officer being given some 10,000 money in that photo by another gentleman. That is corruption. Let us assume maybe this gentleman was involved in a traffic offense. Now he is trying to bribe the police officer so that he can go away without being charged. Then in picture number 2, we are seeing child abuse. The girl is crying. Maybe she has been beaten. Maybe she's crying because she has been denied food. All this is child abuse and an injustice in our society today. In the third picture, we are seeing people beating another one, undressing him, and others are running here and there. That is mob justice. This photo also can help us to explain bullying in workplaces and schools. Bullying, it is teasing, especially the newcomers in an organization. As we continue in today's lesson, let us look at justice in African traditional society. We want to understand how did our grandparents, our ancestors, in the traditional life, how did they practice justice? Because when we look at our society today, we saw how we are fair, how the government, the church, our parents are trying to promote justice or the act of being fair to others in our society. But even in traditional society, during that time of African way of living, the justice, equality, and fairness to others was carried out through sharing the resources communally. For example, when we go to northern Uganda, the Acholi is used to own property. Up to now, in a communal way, land did not belong to one person. So it was a community affair. No one would sell it. It was owned by parents, their children, their grandchildren, and all the relatives. So that was promoting justice, that no one lived in a society without land. Then the local courts were there to reconcile those people who were conflicting. Maybe you had a misunderstanding with your neighbor regarding land, regarding one person grazing his animals in the plantation of another person. Then the courts were there to see that there was peace and fairness between the two people, encouraging reconciliation among the conflicting parties. You had problems with your neighbors, then the elders, the clan leaders would come, and then they would ensure that there was peace among the two people. When you read these points, you see that they begin with the word through. That is the qualifier that you should use. Remember, in CRE 2231, we are supposed to qualify all our points, and if you miss out a qualifier, that means you'll not earn any mark. So dear listeners, dear girls, please and please, questions of how you qualify them using through. And another element that we should not forget in qualifying our points, please, you are supposed to use only and only one qualifier throughout your points, and this qualifier must be stated. in the introduction statement. For example, if our question was, how did the traditional Africans promote justice in their societies? Then the introduction would be, the African traditional society promoted justice through or by. You choose only one. Now, let us continue with our study. Another element was through emphasizing compensation. For any wrong that you had done to an individual, you have stolen someone's maize, you would compensate that person, either by another good, or when money was introduced, then you would pay money for that, or they would make you dig somewhere work that is relevant to what you had stolen. The cultural norms were also emphasized in the society, such that these ones helped the young ones and the elders to keep in line. They were disciplined because they followed the norms and customs. People knew the do's and don'ts of the society, and this helped to promote justice in the traditional African society. But as you know that society and people have two sides of life, there was also some injustices in the traditional African society. The society was not all that perfect. As they had no written laws, the laws were there in the norms and customs, but people still broke them. So, girls and other listeners, let us try to look at the injustices in traditional African society. And we have a leading question. How was the traditional African society unjust? How was this society unfair to its members? One, and the very touching one. So by this question, we are going to qualify our points using by. And throughout our points, we shall maintain by to qualify all our points. So one, by forcing young girls and boys into marriage. Marriage was a necessary evil in traditional Africa. So young girls were forced into marriage by their parents. Girls of 9 years, some even went into marriage without meeting their first monthly period, which was an injustice to them. And here, forcing them into marriage, they were made to get married to men or women. Let us call them partners who were not of their choice. And this was unfair to them. Human sacrifice was practiced in traditional Africa, and people believed that when you shed blood, that means some bad omens would go away of the society. This was an injustice. Getting a person, you kill him just to avert drought, to avert famine. Another injustice was by throwing or killing twins. When we go to Nigeria, we meet the Igbo people. And these people used, the moment a woman produced twins, these twins were supposed to be killed because they were regarded as sources of misfortunes in the society. Women were regarded inferior and were left to do only housework activities. They would not go into meetings to bring out brilliant views that women have. They were not allowed to go to fight. Hunting was reserved for men. But the petty work of caring for visitors, homework, that was what they were left to do. And this was unfair to women because some women are strong and brilliant in whatever they do. They would do better work in the society. Blaming women for their misbehaviors of the children. Any child that misbehaved, for example, if a girl got pregnant without getting married, that misbehavior was put on the mother. But it was not the woman who made the girl to go out to have sex before marriage. This was unfair to the women in traditional African society. All the misfortunes in traditional Africa were blamed on the women. Famine, drought, failure of some women to fail to have children. All this poverty in the home was put on the woman, and this was unfair in the African traditional society towards women. As you read more books, as you research, you will find out so many injustices that were practiced on the women in traditional Africa. Some were even denied to eat certain foods. For example, in Uganda, here in central Uganda, you find that women were denied to eat certain foods: pork, chicken, eggs, grasshoppers. All the delicacies were left for men, and that was unfair. So, as you read, research, and get more points to add on this. So, we are going to look at this assignment that I'm giving you. Do your best to research, you summarize this work in your books. You are going to look at the injustices practiced in traditional Africa. You look for the societies. For example, Buganda, among the Banyankole, you look at the Basoka. You can as well go out of Uganda. Look for this society and the injustice which was practiced in that society. But remember, your example must have at least 3 W's. For example, who, when, where, what. You choose those. And when you're writing an example, like you can say, women were denied you can say, by denying women certain foods. For example, that word for example should begin with a capital F. A capital F. For example, among the Baganda, then you continue writing your example. Please stay safe, and I'm leaving you with the scripture of Proverbs 19 verse 20, which says that human beings can make all the plans, but fulfillment is for God. As you're reading, put God first. For more information, please visit the link below to get more research and then more information. Stay safe and be blessed.